Hey everybody, it is Monday, February 1st, 2021. Welcome to February. Hope everybody's doing well. Just wanted to chime in today. There's been a lot of news about silver. We want to look at the broader markets today, but I wanted to chime in on silver and just go over my thoughts here because there's been a lot of different opinions on it. And I'd like to hear from you. I mean, what do you think about silver? We did see a nice little jump up in the price, but not as big as I would have expected if it was a real short squeeze with thousands and tens of thousands of traders jumping into silver like they did on GameStop just a few days ago, last week now. So yes, silver is a very undervalued asset. I do believe it's gonna play a much bigger role in the monetary system here in the near future. And some people are asking me, but I don't think this is the big event that I've been speaking about with silver. This to me seems like almost a false pump, or maybe something to even make silver traders or silver stackers look bad, right? So this was not a big price surge. In fact, silver was $50 an ounce back in the 80s, and now we still have barely cracked or barely touched the $30 mark. As of right now, silver is $29 or $28.90, which is a nice jump. I mean, over a 7% jump, but nothing compared to the surge that we saw in GameStop. So then you say, well, yeah, we're talking about physical versus a digital investment where you can just punch in numbers on a screen. Well, we're going to look at the SLV here in just a minute, and that is a gold investment trust, which is supposed to loosely track the price of silver. Right, of course, it's a paper derivative of silver, so I personally do not fully trust any paper derivative of a real commodity, but it is something that is supposed to track the price. All right, so we'll look at that. But here's the chart of silver. So you see today reached over $30 for a brief moment, but when people were jumping in expecting a GameStop type of surge, I think it might have caused a lot of disappointment and actually ultimately might end up hurting the maybe the opinion of a lot of people on silver. It doesn't affect my opinion because I don't think these pump and dump schemes should be looked at as a true value indicator, right? So GameStop, basically a store that has a lot of locations shut down, right? Not a company you'd want to jump into thinking that the fundamentals or the earnings are going to be superior. So we know that these pump and dump schemes, short squeezes, when people try to go in and manipulate these things, right, we can't look at that as a true value indicator. Now, it doesn't mean that silver is still undervalued. I still think it is. Even with today's run-up, I still think silver is way undervalued, especially when you look at all of the ways that the monetary system is going to be changing. Right, and as we progress on this channel, we'll talk more about that, and you're going to start seeing things unfold in the near future. And this is not, again, this is not the thing or the event or the transition that I've been talking about. I think once the system finally gets exposed as basically a fiat paper Ponzi scheme, there's going to be the demand, and people are going to become educated over time, as a lot of, hopefully you have been on this channel. You've been learning as we go along. Every day I'm learning. New news, new information comes out. Well, I think that education and that those lessons that we learn, I think are going to expand into the broader population. More people now are starting to wonder, hey, why are we sending billions of dollars overseas, and why are they trying to take more of my paycheck and saying that we can't send out stimulus checks to the American people? Why is that happening? So people are curious. People are asking questions. They're finding out more and more about the monetary system, that it is unlimited amounts of fiat currency they can create out of thin air. Right? They know the banks, they control everything. They know the banks, they can loan out money that they actually don't have. It's called the fractional reserve system. So people are learning about these things, and as this broad awareness spreads, as it becomes more and more part of the population, you're going to see more questions asked. And I think finally we're going to get to a more sound monetary system. Now, we're going to have to go through some very hard times before we get there. That to me is the end game, but things are unfolding so rapidly, I think we're going to start seeing again, more craziness happen, combined with all the other the uprisings and unrest that we've been seeing in this country. Okay, now even with kind of the mini pop that we saw today, silver did manage to breach an 8-year high, and maybe this is just the beginning. Maybe tomorrow we'll see it jump to 32, 35 and beyond. We'll have to see, but it's definitely not the Reddit push or the Reddit fueled frenzy that we saw in GameStop. Don't let this affect your decision. I think you should still be putting away as much silver as possible. I shouldn't say that you should be. I should say that I am. And you're your own person, and you have your own situation. Obviously, if you barely have enough to keep the lights on, it's probably not a good idea to stack silver. But my opinion, what I'm doing, any extra money that I have that I don't have put away for an emergency fund, I am stacking more silver. There's a link down below, SD Bullion. I'm sure you've heard other people recommend SD Bullion. Why? Because they're the best. They're really good. In my opinion, they are the best. Best prices, fast shipping. But there is a shortage, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. All right, but first, here's the paper derivative of silver, which many would argue is not even a derivative. It's just a digital form of trying to track the silver price. $26.88. This is just the Robinhood view here. And let's take a look at what's been displayed here in SD Bullion now for the past few days, even over the weekend. Tell me how this sounds to you. SD Bullion, due to unprecedented demand, we are currently experiencing shipping delays of 10 plus business days after payment clears. 10 plus days, plus how many? 20, 30? Are we 3 months back orders? So if that is the case, if they're that backlogged as far as trying to fill their new orders, then they're going to need to start paying out more for buying silver. And they're going to need to raise their prices to try to stamp out some of the demand, right? So we'll see how this happens. It looks to me like an obvious shortage. Otherwise, they wouldn't say unprecedented demand. All these 10 business days delay. It could be more than that. It just says 10 plus. So how serious is this physical silver shortage? Will the SLV be a good investment? Will it track the price of physical silver if there is an actual physical silver shortage, which it looks like there is? So we're going to see how this unfolds. I'm not saying I know what's going to happen. I don't have a fortune teller type of look into the future, but I do know that, and I believe this, that silver is going to play a very, very important role in the monetary system. Ultimately, it's going to be a hedge against inflation. Two, even if it never is implemented into the monetary system, it's got so many industrial uses. It's never going to be valueless. It is God's money, just like gold. I believe it is God's money. And ultimately, that's where you need to be in this system where so much debt is being created, trying to paper over all of the problems. All right, and I should talk about that. There's people out there saying that the silver price is going to crush the banks which have large short positions. I'm not so sure about that. I'm taking a wait-and-see approach on that. I do know that the banking system is very, very fragile. They're over-leveraged. Many of these banks are short on silver to the tune of billions of dollars. So, yes, a surge in silver could cause some disruptions in the banking system. Will the central bank be there? Will the Fed be there to endlessly back the banks? My guess is yet, but I'm being cautious, as I think you should. But let me know what you think. What's going to happen with silver? We're going to see it continue to rise. Has this Reddit push been kind of a false push to make a joke out of silver stackers? I noticed that it was trending over on Twitter, so that made me a little bit suspicious on it. I'd like to know what you think on this one. See you soon. We'll be back with another report here as soon as we can. Stay well, stay safe, stay prepared. Bye for now, everybody. Peace.